Welcome to episode 11 of Box Turtle Bites. I'm Jason. He's TJ. TJ, what are we doing tonight?
we're going to try and put an MCP server in a Lambda stream, a streaming Lambda basically. So we're taking two relatively new concepts and trying them out.
So we've started a little bit of work beforehand because, want to get ahead of things here. But, of course, we're learning on the go, which is kind of the point here. So bear with us as we figure this out. So what I've seen so far from other people is they're just using an Express server, which is fine. But we're trying to figure out if we can do it without using Express server. So doing a little bit different here.
Yeah, I was going to try and do the response stream because I thought it would be interesting to be able to transport it with the streamable.
Yep.
From one of our past ones, I think we went over kind of that new Streamify response that's available now in Lambda. Types look like they're still not there, so you have to kind of hand jam in your types.
A little bit of type work there.
Oh, that's interesting. When you're sharing, I can't see that file anymore because it's not available.
Really?
Yeah, that's really weird.
Huh, that's funny.
Fun fact. So what we got here is we set up our handler. We've got our Streamify response that gives us the event and the response stream. So like when you connect, you get your typical
API gateway event,
whatever. And then you have a response stream because it establishes that connection, and basically you're just sending back messages back and forth.
So that's effectively what we're going to write to, right? So data that you're going to write to in the context is some extra information that isn't relevant for what we're talking about today, is useful at times, but not for what we're doing.
And then so what we're taking from that, by the way, 03 does not know how to do this. We started with quite a bit of code that didn't work.
We're trying to use LLMs to generate this code they're not quite ready for this yet, apparently.
So the next thing we've got to kind of do is we have our MCP server. So this is using app model context protocols, SDKs.
Yep.
That's written by Anthropic. Actually, fun fact, because I was trying to get Playwright to work with OpenAI's APIs. MCP is not supported by OpenAI's API spec.
Interesting.
It only provides functions. And it actually gave me a little bit more appreciation for MCP because I was like, well, holy crap, this MCP server has like 30 tools. I don't want to create the function calls for every one of them.
Yeah.
So pretty cool for that. So we set up our resource, our tool, just this adder for right now. And now we're kind of just digging through and trying to figure out what transport we can use to kind of establish this and get this going. I was checking STDIO and streamable HTTP. I feel like there's something that we can probably do with the streamable transport. I just don't really know.
Yeah, it's one of those where did something like this before, but I don't remember exactly where. And this one is the internet is great, right? Love the internet, but sometimes it's so hard to find what you're looking for.
Well, especially in this stuff. This is not
new stuff. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, it really hasn't been. What is start? Does start take anything? No. Options. I mean, there's handle requests, but we really don't want to handle request. We want it to basically take over our stream object.
So, trying to think here. Transport. this would be very similar to like if we were doing just like a Lambda in general. Right? This isn't MCP specific, right? This is just like how to stream something back from Lambda, right?
Yeah, so typically, like, assuming we weren't trying to figure out how to hook it to this transport,
Yep.
we can basically respond back every time you write to response stream.
Yep.
Why? Oh, yeah. So you can do basically, what is it? I forget is it write? Yeah.
I think so.
So you can write basically chunks, right?
Yep.
And so, like hello,
Yep.
and you could just like write a bunch of stuff. Like the advantage is that, so like a lot of these LLMs are have that streamify response, right? And so you're getting content chunks, and you can basically send the delta chunks to this response stream. And so it does that like, when you're using any of those UIs where it's like coming in all at once. As soon as the tokens are created. This might be a lost cause to use the streamify, because I don't know that we can connect an MCP server. Well, maybe there's options on here.
So the reason you don't want to use handle request, because it's going to be a one-time thing anyways, right? This is what's the downside to using handle request here?
Well, we don't really have an incoming
it's not
message
an incoming request. Yeah. So
or a server response.
Right.
Because really what happens is that's all supposed to be handled by the transport.
Right.
We might need to just go with the express.
The express server option. Yep.
Yep. Because I think we're going to run in circles. I'll do a little bit more research on we basically need to set up the streamable HTTP server transport, but use this response stream, but I don't see anything in the options. We might be trying something before it's possible.
Really ready to be done.
Mm-hmm. We're not going to need that one. We're going to need... Oop, I'm going to have to request read-writing access again.
There you go.
We're going to need... let's see...
Express.
Yeah, they changed the name 3 times. It's like at CodeGenie now.
What?
Mm-hmm. It was started by AWS Labs. Then it was sold to... Oh, who was it?
I don't think I realized it started by AWS Labs.
Vendia. And then Vendia, like, rebranded it to at CodeGenie.
Okay.
Yeah. Fun fact as I went through 3 NPM packages to get to it. Because every one of them was like, oh, we don't. It uses, what's it called now?
That's interesting.
Yep. Very weird.
Very.
All right. So the very minimal thing that we would need to do at the very least is import serverless express. Of course, they write everything as like the... Oh, of course. No types.
Oh.
Oh, wait, no. That's wrong. Auto correct.
Oh. There we go.
And then we're going to need... Where's app? There example is off.
So some of them are using like Express directly. They're not even using the wrapper, the serverless Express.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Think isn't it like serverless Express app? No. What am I remembering? Hold on. Oh man.
Oh, you actually have to get Express? I don't remember actually getting an Express. They wrote everything in CommonJS, and so I'm like,
yeah.
I'm trying to translate it in my head as we're going.
You'd think at this point in time, people would be like, look, everybody uses TypeScript. Let's just,
Oh my gosh,
do it this way.
I just added it. Yes, there. Okay, now we've got our app. That's what we needed.
Yep.
And now we can do cores. Oh, I bet you that's a separate package too.
Probably.
Watch it complain about the types too.
So the example I'm seeing is use express.json.
Express.json? Oh, yeah.
So like they're not even using cores in the example I'm looking at.
Oh, I was just putting it in because I was looking at
I mean, that's kind of like your classic, but I wonder if it, like we were talking about before we came on, is not sure that it's needed for this, right? Because
no, it
probably shouldn't be
doesn't.
making options calls.
Oops. Body. Well, it had what I wanted. And we need... Man, I forgot. I've set a couple of these up and I forgot how many stupid packages there are. I've never seen the blue.
It's just a spell checker.
Oh. Well, they're not very great at. All right. And now that we have our app and Express.json, we can do...
Still, this part doesn't change. It's just going to be down here in the handler, right?
We got to finish setting up the app. So we got to do app.post.
Oh, yeah.
And then we want the
So the MC,
MCP. And this is going to be async.
So ultimately what we're doing is setting up here. This is where the actual calls will come in, right?
Yep. And so we're gonna set up basically the session.
Yep.
But it's not that. It's MCP-session-ID. Let transport. We don't need both. Oop. And then we're going to do if session ID and transport.
Nice.
Where did they get that? Oh. We have to set up a little crappy.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. So basically they're keeping track of all the different sessions, which is actually
It's just a
weird.
memory one, yep.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like, I guess technically if you came back to the same Lambda function, it would hit the same one. because this is being defined outside of the body of the function. So if you're on a warm start, it could hit the same one, which could save you a little bit of effort, so you don't have to create that session again. The downside of this is that you could use up a bunch of memory if you don't have it allocated. If you don't have enough available, it'll run out of memory, which actually would cause Lambda to fail in a different way. It's weird when Lambdas fail because of memory issues, so try not to have that happen. So basically we're saying if we've got one, return that one. If not, we're going to create a new one. We're going to add it to that list.
What did I fuck up? Oh, comma. And then missing a bracket. There we go. So that's all this session.
Oh, this is the session. Okay, this is part of the creating a new session. So it needs a generator for the session ID, which you're just using a random UUID. And when it initializes, okay, so that's when you actually set it into the transport. Got it.
Yeah, and close.
I assume we're just going to take it out at that point.
Yeah, we're just doing all the cleanup.
Yep.
And so if transport.session ID and transports we can just do delete that.
Yep.
So that's the unclose. And now we can establish basically our server.
So this is going to be really interesting to me because I'm curious, given that it's a Lambda function, will that not be closing every time that Lambda function ends?
We're going to find out.
Yeah. I'm going to add some logging to this.
And then we can do this. So we got our adder.
So there are 3 types of things you can get from MCP. One of them is queries or not queries? Wow, why can't I remember the other type of thing you can get? There's resources, there's tools, and there's prompts, right?
Yeah, resources, tools, prompts. I think there might be one other thing.
Okay, I was thinking it was those 3, but mostly, I think what people are using today are tools, and a little bit of resources that sometimes are associated with the tools. Like one of the examples that I've seen is like a database. One of the resources will be a list of the tables or a list of the columns for tables or something like that. And so those can be used. Can be used to by the LLM, and then they also ultimately can call the tool with things from the resources if needed, or just use the resources.
All right.
All right, what's red down here? Oh, this is, we got to update that.
This is going to be totally different now.
Yep.
It's going to be what is that? Handler. It's like, what is that? I got to go back to.
So you're using serverless express, right? So it's just export const handler equals serverless express.
Dot handler.
Oh yeah.
Equals
serverless express.
Serverless express.
Then app. Should be it. Why is that mad?
Oh, I spelled it.
Oh. What? Still not happy.
Didn't I bring that in?
I thought you did. Yeah. Is it something dot?
No, I just can't spell.
Oh, okay. Well,
So that
technically should be a Lambda function that does what we need to do.
Lambda function that we want. So now we just need to CDK deploy it and get a function.
Before that we do that, let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we kind of glossed over here in the setup.
Sure.
I think the biggest thing to me is when we're using Zod here, and Zod is basically a schema definition tool. But the main thing here is when you're giving it a tool, right? You give it the name of the tool, so that's just a name. Doesn't really matter what it is, although the more descriptive it is, probably the better the LLM is going to have at figuring it out. But the other key thing is you're going to give it a set of parameters or a set of arguments, I guess, with some structure. And in this case, we're telling it their numbers. They can be more complex than that, right? They can be strings, letters, dates, objects, whatever. But you need to, like, this is the MCP code itself is going to use that to determine the structure of what it needs to send. The LLM needs to send. So when it's calling the tool, it knows, okay, I'm going to send 2 numbers. And so ultimately then our code's going to get those 2 numbers and respond with the values. But is there a place where you can add more descriptive text to this, like what the tool does?
I haven't actually used. There's the name.
Title, maybe title would be helpful. It's got some.
It looks like there's all kinds of hint stuff.
Hint information. Although those are just Boolean, so.
Well, there's a tool annotation schema that's
one
within it, and it's got title.
Yeah, it's got title
only hint.
But those hints are just Booleans. Right, read only hint. Yeah. But I think title is probably the most important one here. I'd be curious to see if I can.
I think mostly is the name is where it's typically
okay.
Where you add the majority,
Yep.
If we want it to be more specific. In fact, if you go pull up, or I'll share my screen here in 2 seconds. If we look at what they're basically here's Playwright's MCP server.
Yep.
And these are the different interactions that it can do, browser click. And so it does have a title and description parameters.
Yeah.
So there's probably a description somewhere. I just don't know where.
I wonder if it's
That must be my mic.
Yeah, because I got my speakers turned off. I got headphones.
I was gonna see if they had because they're doing exactly what we're doing here.
Right.
Oh, I should have looked at their stuff. I could have stole. They've got SSE set up. There must be another connection. I was gonna see where they like set up the. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. They have a tool.js from a tool factory.
I think that's just a type that they declared in a different file, right? Yeah, because if you look in, they've got tool.js as a file that's down below there. But I think the having more descriptive stuff on your schema obviously is going to help it, right? Because the more information it knows about it, the more the LLM is going to be able to figure out.
I was really hoping I could see what their like they have all these defined tools, but
Yep.
I was looking at where they loaded it into the MCP server itself.
So
unless they didn't even use it.
Well, I bet you they're using what's in tools.js
Oh,
and
here we go.
loading it in.
Where do they establish it?
Create action.
Woo! I was like, I can't find where they establish the MCP server. Like I see all the types and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't see the like where the heck did they put the actual server? Everything but. I can find everything but what I'm looking for.
This is one of those where you're probably passing past it because trying to look at it live when.
Yeah. Oh, here's server.
There you go.
Okay, so where do you load this?
And then they're adding all their tools after that, right?
Yeah, I was looking. They have the connect.
Yep.
Close. Where's the tools? Oh, here, tools.
Yep.
Where do they load it though? Weird. I see the tools find.
Yeah.
And if there's no tools.
So that's on a call, right? That's when it's getting the request coming into it.
Oh.
So the tools.
Yeah.
What's weird is the tools on line 36 are empty.
Yeah, like that's where I'm like, well, where the heck did they where did they load this thing up with the tools?
Hold on. Stop right there. Right. Is it right? Line 42. Tools map. Yeah, that's where it is. So
No,
when you list the tools. Yeah, but that's when you go to list tools.
Uh-huh. What? This is interesting for the call tool schema.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Oh, it's just the types. There must be another way of loading this.
Yep.
Looks like they probably went much deeper than we did. So we can go back to. There's got to be a better way of like adding the tools or giving a description, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day,
I mean, it takes a Zod raw shape, so they didn't really like go deep on it.
Right. Like, so, like if you look at this, I'm pretty sure. Let's see what number has in it. I feel like there's.
Oh yeah, tool schema is name description.
Yeah.
I think it's just. For all I know, this.
I think it's because
example doesn't really like call out how to do like description.
Because we're using Zod, like it's kind of hard. Like Zod has stuff built into it. I think we could probably pass stuff into this, but I'm not really sure what you can pass into it. No, nothing there. It's been I've played with Zod. I'm by no means an expert in it, but I'm trying to think of where I've seen people do this. Oh, that's what it is. So when you do Zod.number, you can do dot description. That's not happy. Why? Oh, not description. Describe. There we go. So by doing that, you're effectively adding a description to it. So I think ultimately what that'll do is that'll cause the tool to have a little bit more information. I think there's probably a way to get the tool itself to have more, but we'll worry about that another time.
Yeah, they don't really call it out, and even in the MCP like
Yeah.
examples, like they don't really call it out, unfortunately.
All right. So
right.
we need to get a construct for this guy, right?
Yeah, we want a construct for Lambda, and then a function URL. And that's about it. And then we can call the function. Well, we could actually just load it right into the MCP server of the VS Code and tell it to add.
True. I love some of the default stuff. Stop giving me Lambda stuff for my environment. Come on.
It just wants to put everything in the environment.
Oh, goodness.
You might want to go longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Knowing my luck.
We'll do 90.
I like how it did new Lambda parentheses.
Why is it doing that? Oh.
Did you attach a
this is
a junior coder MCP server?
So this funny thing on that is my brain is just like in different. I've been playing with Rust over the last week or so, and so my brain is in Rust. Not that was Rust code, by the way. It was definitely not. But trying to get back into this code, I'm just like, oh yeah. So
entry is gonna just be /index.
Yeah. I don't even think I have to give it handler. I think that's default.
I don't think so.
I don't even know if there's anything else I need to give it.
I don't remember.
It's not really accessing anything. It's not mad, so obviously it's going to give defaults for things. I'm going to give it a log group, though.
Oh, you're going to want to... I would go up to 9 for the Node.js function, because I think the entry is going to need the path.join and...
Oh, yeah.
And then...
what is it? Oops.
And then you're going to have a alias.
Oh, to do the function.
Because you want the function URL.
Yeah. I don't think I have to have an alias to do that. Or it does that automatically.
Oh, yeah, I guess you can just do lambda.add function URL. You just have to do it after the lambda.
Yep.
I don't know. What invoke modes are there? I think there's only response stream, and you'll probably want to make it the public one for our purposes.
Oh, the function URL?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the auth
Auth
type.
type.
And you'll just change it to none. That should probably work.
Let's see what it does.
Did you log in?
I did. But that is a valid question.
Oh, I do it all the time.
It's funny, like how often I'll be, halfway through the day. I'm like, what? I haven't logged in yet? Just assume that I logged in earlier. All right, so we're deploying this. We've got an MCP server, but ultimately to call this, there's more work to be done, isn't there?
What do you mean?
So if I'm gonna hook this up to VS Code, for example, I need to put it in here. But
so go over to agent. And then on that little tooly thingy, add more tools, add MCP server, HTTP,
and then this will be the
and then
URL.
that's where you'll put the server URL.
So we'll see. Let me actually open this account.
Oh wait, it's already deployed, huh? Speedy.
It's not hard when there's not much there.
Probably should have put logging in it.
I put one login.
I was gonna say, I don't think I ever get these like experiment projects right on the first try.
The only thing I put in is the log for when it disconnects. Function URL. Copy that.
This will be interesting.
Episode 11. All right. User settings, sure. I guess
so there you go.
Should put that in the workspace, but all right. So man, let's put a lot of stuff. Oh, let's put it into settings.json. Okay,
Yeah,
which
that's
is fine.
just other stuff.
You could put it here too, but so put type as SSE and then the URL. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Now if we hit that little refresher button,
which one?
It's right next to the server.
This guy right here.
Yep. Oh, something went wrong.
Didn't like our call. Error loading one tools. Could you tell me
if you
what
click
the
on
error
that,
was?
does it tell you?
Show output.
configuration.
Is not a function.
Oh, what? Well, it did something.
It did something.
Let's see what the log
Yeah, I
is.
was gonna say, let's look over here.
Well, it definitely hit it. Type error. EE.on is not a function.
Okay, well, that's good to know that it actually hit our code.
Let's see.
Give a line.
I think it was in the.
It's inside the.
It's like deep in the. I think it might be because I set up that stupid URL encoder. Take that out. And then why don't we put a console? Come on, DJ, you can fucking spell. Apparently you can't.
All kinds of stuff in there.
Oh, don't we have to return this? Oh, maybe not. Because where does this get used? Oh. Oh, that's for get and delete.
Yeah, it's just a return.
Yeah, let's redeploy that and see where we bomb. Although I do think it was that URL encoder.
Yeah.
Because it probably didn't like that. Are we even using any of these? You also might want to take out some of the...
Like this whole handle session request thing. Well, not that. Those could go away.
Yeah, those are just to...
Yeah, I mean...
They're just to handle the get and delete.
Right, in case somebody hits it, but like it's not going to get hit.
Yeah, we didn't hit that. Yeah. So if you want to try and... You might need to... I don't know what...
See what start the server does?
I guess.
Still
the
same error.
Thing, huh? No, it's not the same thing because it didn't hit it again.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, now the log's there.
Yeah, it's always a little bit delayed, a few seconds.
No, we're not even hitting... We didn't hit any of the logs.
That's interesting.
So there's something wrong with like the actual setup.
Yeah, so it's happening before it even spins it up. Let's go look at one of the things I was looking at.
Oh.
Getting rid of your body parser.
Why does it keep deleting what I'm putting in?
What do you... Because I was editing stuff at the same time.
Oh. Do we need the JSON, right?
Yeah, but there's one on Express.
Oh, okay. So let's get rid of the cores too.
Yeah.
Get rid of cores. It does talk about needing this support source map support register, so we might want to install that.
I think actually that's one of the things I can do in the CDK. If I can find my CDK.
I'm just going to add it just in case. Might as well. It's in the Express example for the basic.
Oh my gosh, go away.
Oh.
What's wrong?
That was a weird error. Oh. Said I couldn't do it? That's weird.
GitHub wants to sign in. Okay. Why is... For whatever reason, my VS Code decided that it was not signed in.
Weird. I can't. Oh, it must not have.
No, that's not correct.
It's so weird. They have this required. The one that's right here, right in the beginning. But I don't really know.
Let's just leave that off for now and see what it does.
Oh, they don't even... Oh, it's in the dev dependencies and it's just called source map support.
Oh.
Maybe we don't need it.
I think that's just going to give us better line.
Well, yeah, that would probably help us with the error.
Help us figure out what the error is. Yeah. Details.
We'll get there.
I'm trying to remember, like, there's something that I normally do Oh, it's bundling.
Oh yeah, the bundling for the source maps and
Yeah,
stuff.
CDK.
Yeah, I just don't know if it does it the same way for. Yeah, minify false.
Let's let that go again. But I feel like this is not updating.
Yeah, you have to start it each time.
Yeah, it's still giving me the same error.
Ugh. Let's get that source map in there.
Yeah, I deployed it, so we'll see. I saw something that Anthropic was going to start allowing server-side MCP calls. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not really sure how that works, but
Interesting.
yeah. All right, got the same error, but now maybe we'll have something better in our logs.
No, we need that source map thingy. All right, now it's got it.
Oh, did you uncomment it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it wasn't saved.
It was on my side. It's really weird because it's like dying even before the.
Yeah, which suggests like there's something.
Oh wait, didn't you say it was SSE?
That's
in
what
your
it
settings?
shows. That's what it shows here.
Try changing it to MCP.
I don't think that's a valid.
Is it not?
No.
Yeah. I wonder if we need to change that endpoint to SSE. All right. Maybe we'll get a better error message. What the fuck? Now we got even less of a log. Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, it's something with the router. Oh, wait, it's still trying to use body parser.
What? Maybe that's what's built into express.json, but
Because it bombed on JSON parser.
that's like it's not updating. Oh, wait a second. Let me look at something. We may be I may be calling like the old URL. Does it update when it? No, it shouldn't update every time I deploy it.
Oh, really?
I don't think so. I haven't. Let me just see. Nope, it's the same.
Same URL?
Yep. I was going to take out the stuff that we're not really using right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just to clean up things that may be the problem. So it can't be in here because that's called, that wouldn't even be called yet.
It's like it doesn't like the JSON, which is weird.
Add alias. At least we'll force a new version.
It's very weird.
Oops. Same problem.
Yeah,
What's
it's like
going
the
on?
serverless is not.
All right, let's just back this down. Take out. I just want to see it do a different error message.
It's like the. I wonder if the handler is not defined right.
Well, I don't think it's even getting to that. Like,
Well, the handler's where it comes in.
Right, but I think it's failing before it even runs any code. Equals. You can just do equals there. It's actually responsive or API gateway response proxy response v2.
It's what?
Isn't it response? Gateway. Yeah. Oops. Just get rid of that. All right, so I got an error. I took that stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm tempted to just be like, forget this transports thing.
Oh, for the session?
Yeah.
We could just go to a sessionless one.
Yeah.
That's weird. It hit it, but no error message came.
Yeah, that's because I had everything come to that.
Oh.
So it just returned. It tried to do. That's what's interesting. It said it was doing a get.
500. What the hell? This doesn't make sense.
So if I comment out this, I bet you we get the same error.
You think?
Yeah. Because I don't think it's getting to that. I think it's somewhere in the setup. Although could be wrong. Because we were
It's that
logging.
fucking JSON parser.
We're logging the moment we get in here, so
It keeps trying to use that body parser.
yeah. Which I think is probably what ExpressJSON is using under the hood.
Maybe.
I'm curious if we take that out, what it would do. Let's just see. Yeah, well, we got a 404 that one. That's interesting.
So it's running on the server, but it's bombing on the app.post.
Yeah, but what's weird is like the first line in here is a console log, so it can't even be getting to that.
Take out that request, the receive request, comma request body. Like just do, yeah. Like maybe we're accessing that body when we're not supposed to.
That's
And
not
it's causing the
entirely
JSON
impossible.
parse.
Yeah.
Because technically it's not a, I don't think it's an actual parsable body.
Well, yeah. I was thinking this was the app sync. I mean, the API gateway, but it's not API gateway at that point.
Yeah, I think it's the, I'll be curious if that was it. That'd be really funny if the console log is the thing that screwed us.
That's what was killing us. It would be typical, though. Cleanup complete. No, that was not the problem.
I'm going to switch out everything
All right.
on Outpost. We're going to get rid of all of the session management crap. I got to find where get server comes from.
This is to an MCP server, right?
Of course they like. Why do they always got to do examples like that where they use some like random
Abstracted
function that you're like, what the fuck did that come from?
Right. Thanks for your example where you abstracted away the key part that I needed to use.
Dude, their example sucks.
Which one are you looking at?
The one that I pasted in.
Oh. But
Like this is their sessionless.
From actual.
Yeah, this is literally from model context protocol / TypeScript SDK. Like, and it doesn't like any of the stuff. Promise void is missing all kinds of crap. This is like,
Well, obviously this is not going to work out tonight, but you know, that's all right. That's part of the process. We'll get it figured out. Figure out what we did wrong. I think before we kind of sign off for the time, I think that the part that was interesting to me is that, like, in theory, once I get this set up, I should be able to just use it, right? Just like anything else. I don't have to, like, the thing that I keep seeing people posting about is having to create a proxy. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. If I have to create a proxy, it kind of defeats the purpose of it. But this seems to indicate that I don't, right? So I can hit it directly. Once we have it in place, like, it's just an endpoint that I hit, right?
yeah, and it basically is surfacing a list of tools.
Right.
And then, I mean, if we want to at least end on a good note, just switch that server to, here, I'll paste it in. I have the playwright one, and we can at least show that. Settings. So I'll just put it at the bottom of the file. Switch that MCP server for that.
Oops. Where'd you put it?
Just the end of the index file.
Okay. Should be able to put that in here, right? Or, no, never mind. Put it
here. Yeah, I just, and then if you go reload your server and then do, surf to Google, everyone else won't get to see it, but it's going to pop open your browser and use it. And it'll ask you. But if you look at the tool set, so if you click that the tools now, you can see it has all these. I mean, that's the big advantage of this, right? Is that you can have like all of those tools packaged up into one thing that it can utilize. So if you tell it in that chat now, browse to Google.
Right. Except browse has a W in it.
It's going to ask you, and if you hit continue, and then you can just describe what it just popped up. Like
it popped up google.com.
Yep. And so like that's the advantage, right? And so like you could make a MCP server with access to your APIs or and all that good jazz. And so like we'll get there from like the how do you do this?
Yep.
I wasn't super high hopes because not a lot of people are trying to shove these into Lambda yet.
Right. It's relatively new. I think and the other thing that I think it's worth kind of coming back to this is the thing that's important to get into this is what does the security model look like? How do we make sure that ultimately I'm going to have multi-tenants or at least I want to have access to only my data, right? So if I'm going to have some server, I mean, I may have a shared thing, right, where it's just like, hey, come use my API. That's fine, like a weather app, for example. But if I have something where I want people to log in and get their data, then there's got to be some authentication on it. So we can kind of dig into that a little bit too and see how we get authentication. And I think ultimately ends up as part of this configuration, right? So
with the MCP servers, especially, or with the Express servers, there's middleware that you can introduce, and you could stop things before.
Yep.
And then you'll have to do some stuff on how you call it. I don't know if it would work with VS Code out of the box because I think they assume an open.
I'm pretty sure that, like, as a matter of fact, they've got like stuff for GitHub, for example, where you put your credentials in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we could
I just
look
think
at something like that.
I think it's somewhere in this configuration
Yep.
where it ends up putting some, like you put your keys in or whatever it is. But yeah, we can look a little bit into that. So we'll play with that. Maybe next time. We're also looking at possibly doing a little bit of playing around with Rust, see how that goes. So we'll see in a couple weeks. We'll do one of those two. Come back and we'll try it out. But until then, have a good night, everybody.